I hope everybody is having a fantastic afternoon. This is Atmospheric Alex here with another update on newly formed Hurricane Ernesto, no longer future hurricane. It just formed literally about 30 minutes ago. So all the information you'll see in this video is current. So first things first, I wanted to take a look at the National Hurricane Center's cone of uncertainty for Hurricane Ernesto. And we can currently see right here that it will be moving off to the north at a very slow pace, believe it or not. And this is anticipated to intensify now into a major hurricane. Looks like on Friday morning here on its approach to Bermuda on Saturday morning. So we will have to wait and see just how fast this thing can intensify. But as you could tell, Bermuda right here is right in the cone of uncertainty. And boy, it is like right near the center of it too. We are expecting some very significant impacts to Bermuda as the models stand right now. So here is your earliest reasonable arrival time for these tropical storm force winds. We're talking about for the island of Bermuda here, it looks to be Friday at 8 a.m. in the morning. So right when you're waking up, it'll probably start getting extremely windy out there and will continue for quite some time. Looks like probably 24, 36 hours. It's going to go on for a while as it moves very slowly, up in this area here as it approaches Bermuda. And funny enough, we cannot forget about you folks down here in the southeastern Bahamas, believe it or not, where we could be talking about tropical storm force gusts later on this afternoon into this evening. Now, before we get too detailed, here is your tropical storm now Hurricane Ernesto model track guidance. So what this currently does is it takes every single weather model that's on the system and puts it into a spaghetti chart here. So what we're seeing is fairly good agreement here, 24, 48 hours out. But you can see by the time it enters Bermuda, we have a wide range of outcomes here. All right, this system could track well off to the west. It could track well off to the east. Or it could thread the needle and literally make a landfall on Bermuda. So we're a little uncertain now as to where this will go precisely, and this will have significant implications to our wind forecast and a little bit of our rain forecast as well. We'll be showing your high-resolution hurricane models in just a minute here, but I'd also like to note, even though this discussion didn't specifically mention this, we're talking about portions of eastern Nova Scotia need to be on alert, and especially Newfoundland up here. We are expecting typical fall-like windstorm conditions in these areas with your heavy rainfall as well. So if you are up here in this general region here, we're talking eastern Nova Scotia and to southern Newfoundland, you need to stay very weather aware. All right. Now for the moment you all have been waiting for patiently. Here is your hurricane model data here, your high resolution data. We're going to start off with our HWRF model here for Ernesto as it stands. So what we're taking a look at here is what, well, it currently looks like. We're talking about a bit of a eye wall that is actually starting to form up here around the center. So we have fairly good organization finally starting to occur here with a pressure that is not 984 millibars. That is ridiculously low. I think we're talking more about 991 millibars. This model needs to do some tweaking before it can be used properly, but we're going to look at it anyway just to see maybe it nails the intensification part of the system. Sure enough, it does. We head later on into this evening here. We're talking about rapid intensification really ongoing tonight and down to 961 millibars. And you're going to see this teeny tiny blip occur up here in your top right portions of your screen. Any second now you will see Bermuda appears here just kind of out of nowhere as this thing tracks more off to the northeast. And you could just see how large of a system this is at this point. Look at the size of your eye. And pressure's down to 954 millibars. This is a bona fide major hurricane at this point on approach to Bermuda or just to the west of Bermuda at this point in time. Just take a look at this near miss here Saturday morning. Look at your intense winds right here with your ISO lines and your intense rainfall as well. We cannot forget about that. We are definitely expecting some inland flooding with this system and some pretty nasty storm surge concerns as well. And this just slows down further and we just get battered like crazy here in Bermuda. And we're talking about from 2 a.m. on Saturday morning all the way through 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. We have a total of 24 hours this system will be near Bermuda, and that is going to lead to significant implications here. Now let's look at your wind forecast here. So we're going quickly through the H-Wharf model as this approaches Bermuda. Take a look at this core here. 100 knot winds in some of these areas here. That is approximately 115 miles per hour. So this is very strong winds, and that is equal to a Category 3 hurricane. So at this point, we are indeed talking about a major hurricane, right here, that is heading right off towards Bermuda. So you could see just how significant these impacts could get on the island here as we go through. Tropical storm force winds starting around midnight Saturday. Look at this. Starting to see on the island here about 40 knot sustained winds, and these values will continue to be on the rise here. Take a look at this big shield of hurricane force winds that whip really close to the island, if not on the island here. This is what we're talking about on Saturday morning through Saturday evening. We're talking about 64 to 70 knot sustained winds. So 70 to 80 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts approaching 100 miles an hour on the coastline. Wow. I don't know about you, but wouldn't that just be crazy, standing on the coastline getting whipped by 100-mile-an-hour winds? Well, look no further than Bermuda. So here's your look at your HMON model. We're going to go through this very, very quickly. Same song and dance here. We get that front. I almost forgot to mention, a big cold front slams into the system and helps this eastern side wrap up faster and gain stronger winds. So I do expect a bit of what we would call baroclinic forcing to occur, which could help this become a major hurricane a lot faster. So this front really bounds up against this, and we are talking about a very close pass to Bermuda here. Ooh, look at that there. We have the eye wall here, the inner eye wall, and the outer eye wall battering Bermuda right here Saturday afternoon. This would likely contain some very strong winds with it here, and it gets even closer just off the coast here. And this is when we're going to take a look at our wind gust forecast for Bermuda here. Same song and dance, this becomes a major hurricane. Note the baroclinic forcing here on your northwestern edge as that cold front just pounds up against the eye wall here, which causes a ton of wraparound winds with this, which intensifies it a little. And you can see hurricane force sustained winds going right into Bermuda here. This is absolutely, at this point, what you do not want to see, and residents along the coastline should heed this very seriously at this point in time. Another model we like to look at is our HAFS-A model. We're talking about, a close pass indeed on our models. Take a look at all of this rain that is streaming up to the north and east here, especially impacting Bermuda here. Like I've been saying countless amount of times, Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda. That's like the only word I've said all video. But you can see we're even talking about, in these areas, some features here. We could see some water spouts potentially making their way close to the island here that we'll really need to watch out for. And these will all be moving straight due northwest here. So this is something we really need to consider here along the island. These conditions persist a bit longer. And as you can see from our wind speed forecast, we're talking about, again, rapid intensification of the system, baroclinic forcing on your northwest side. So we have good agreement on that at least. But what we don't have good agreement on is how far to the east or west the system will go. The HAFS-A has it all the way out here with hurricane winds out here. Well, you're not really seeing much on Bermuda. Well, what gives? I mean, you thought you were going to get pounded with hurricane force winds. Well, every single model is different in its own unique way. So on this model, hey, we're only seeing 50, almost 60 knot sustained winds. Now look at our final model. It's been going on for a while, hasn't it? This is our halves B model here, and we're seeing another close pass. Look at that. I want to note here, very powerful eye wall begins to set up just off the coast of Bermuda here, and you can see very strong winds battering the coastline again. Well, that's just, these models are a good agreement at this point for this scenario, unfortunately, but we could see on our wind speed forecast being a little unrealistic here. This, again, determining factor, how strong will this get, and how much of this is going to wrap backwards into the system. If that makes any sense, that's, kind of like a boundary interacting with all the wind back here, which will cause a lot more energy for those areas of the system. This moves closer. We're seeing just your hurricane force winds right off the coastline here. So Bermuda, this is what I'm going to say here. You need to be very vigilant, very weather aware. Get your hurricane kits ready. And if this gets any closer, if you realize any further strengthening, you might even want to evacuate. I'm not playing around with this system. 100-mile-an-hour winds is a big deal, and I want to make sure that you all are safe during this event. With that being said, that about does it with today's video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button and feel free to subscribe to the channel to help grow my little corner of the weather community. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. I will be trying to do some daily uploads here, but I'm thinking as this thing approaches Bermuda, we need the latest information every single day at a timely basis. So I will see you all likely in tomorrow's video. Goodbye and have a wonderful afternoon.